Hi everyone, this is K Pandit from Little Montessori Pundits. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas and you are looking forward to the new year and year 2022. I thought this is just the right time for sharing this wonderful activity that I have here on the table. So basically I've staged a story setting here on the table, and I'm going to share with you how you can do interactive art of storytelling. So here on the table I have staged a story which is a very popular story in Germany, and I've translated this story so many times in English, in Hindi, Gujarati, and once again I'm going to do this story here. So basically it's an interactive way of telling a story by using the characters from this story to set up a stage, which I have done here. And I have normally done this or most of the time I've done this with children in earlier settings. So the way I do it is I read the story to the children 2 or 3 times so that they get to know the story and they get to know the characters in the story, and then I ask them that we're going to bring this story live, so that we're going to put it on a table and then do a stage where children can play the characters of the story. And you know, children get so excited in doing this activity, and I prompt them like to stage the story. What do we need? Because they already know the story, so they will start thinking, oh, we need snow, so and we have to build Vanya's house. So this story is about a woodcutter who lives in the woods and has built a wooden house. So they start thinking like what materials will they need to build the house, and what type of animals, because there are about 3 animals in the story, and the setting, so there is also snow in the story, there are the woods in the story. So what are we going to use that will represent the woods in the story? And then in Vanya's house, let me just slightly bring the camera slightly nearer. So here I've staged, so by using the wooden blocks, I've created the room that Vanya is living in. So that's his wonderful wooden house, and I've used Lego bricks. Even in the past, I've asked children like, what can we use to burn the fire? And then when we are at the playground, they would tell me, can we bring this mini twigs and cut them into small pieces that can represent wood logs? So things like that. Some of them have come up with using the felt material as the duvet for Vanya and things like that. Here is the table. I've used Playmobil figure to represent Vanya. So you can do this on a New Year's Eve when you're looking for an activity that you want to do as a family. So you can have a group of family members getting together. So one person can be Vanya, one can be the fox or the rabbit or the bear. So there are so many ways people can take part in this interactive art of storytelling. Okay, rather than just going on about it, I would like to start with the story, and next month please do look out for my workshop where I'm sharing with you how you can tell an interactive art of storytelling to children by using different things, different materials, and different way of bringing the story live. Okay, so this story, the title of the story is in German Es klopft bei Vanya in der Nacht. So in English, the translation is Who is knocking on Vanya's door? Okay, so I'm going to start with the story now. It was a cold, wintry, late evening and the snow was falling heavily, and outside there was a snowstorm and the wind was really howling. But inside, Vanya had just finished having his supper. He made sure that the fire was burning and his house was nice and warm. He was just about getting ready to go to bed. And take your time in telling the story. But then there was a knock at the door. Vanya sits up and he says, "Wonder who could that be knocking on the door?" He goes to the door. And he opens the door. He sees a rabbit standing in front of him, and the rabbit says, "Please, please, it is a stormy night and I am so cold. Can I come in your house and stay for the night?" Vanya says, but before he could say anything, the rabbit goes, "Please, please, I'm so cold, I'm frozen, my ears and my feet, my tail is also frozen, just for tonight." Vanya feels sorry for the rabbit, so he says, "Okay, rabbit, you can go and sleep on the chair here." He shuts the door and puts a log in the fire and goes back to bed. Vanya is fast asleep. The rabbit is also fast asleep. Oh. But then there is a knock at the door. Oh, Vanya goes, "Wonder who could be that at this time of the night?" And he's wondering, and outside the snowstorm is heavier and heavier. It's windy, the snow is falling. Vanya makes his way to the door. The rabbit is also awake, and the rabbit is wondering, wonder who could that be at the door? Vanya opens the door and he sees a fox at the door. He was quite surprised to see a fox at the door. And the fox goes, "Please, please, can I come in and stay for the night in your house? Vanya goes, but you are a fox. Please, please. My ears are cold. My tail is frozen. Just for tonight, Vanya. But the rabbit jumps from the chair and he goes to Vanya. No, please don't let him come in. Please don't. He's come to get me. Please, please don't. Then Vanya says to the fox, only if you be kind to the rabbit. And the fox says, yes, at the moment I can only think of myself. My ears are frozen, my tail is frozen. Vanya, being a kind man, says, yes, of course, you can come in, but only you promise me to be good. And the fox says, yes, I'll be good, Vanya. Okay, you can come in, but you can sleep by the fire. Rabbit quickly hops onto the chair. And the fox comes in and he settles himself by the fire. Vanya shuts the door again and then he goes back to bed. During the night, it snowed and it snowed heavily and the wind was howling. But suddenly there was a loud knock at the door. Please, please, let me come in. Please, please. Vanya gets out of the bed. Not again. Wonder who could that be? The fox is awake and so is the rabbit. Vanya goes to the door and he opens the door. There he sees a bear standing in front of him. And the bear is with his chattering teeth. Vanya, can I please come in? My ears are frozen and my paws, my legs, everything is frozen. Can I please come in? But the fox immediately says, no, he can't. Please don't let him in. He's come to get me. He's come to get me because last week I stole a piece of meat from the bear. So he's come to get me. Oh, please don't let him come in. Vanya looks up to the bear, but the bear goes, please, please, I'm frozen. I'm so cold. I need to stay somewhere warm. And your house is just a perfect place for me to be in. Please let me come in. I'll be very nice. I'll be very good. Please, please let me come in. Vanya, being a nice guy, he says, okay, bear, you can come in and you can make yourself comfortable in this corner. The fox, but remember, you have to be kind and nice to the fox and the rabbit. Vanya lets the bear in and the bear settles itself in the corner. Then he shuts the door and he puts another log in the fire and makes himself comfortable in the bed. So the bear is now sleeping in one corner of the room, the fox by the fire, and the rabbit on the chair. But during the night, the snow fell heavily in the woods and the wind was howling, so there was a big snowstorm. Ooh, ooh, ooh. But inside Vanya's house, the bear was fast asleep, the fox was fast asleep, the rabbit was fast asleep, and the fox was fast asleep. But early in the morning, when the sun came out, everything was quiet. There was no wind, the snow had stopped falling, and there was a thick blanket of snow on the ground. Inside the house, everything was calm and quiet. All the animals were fast asleep. Vanya also in his bed was fast asleep. But the first one to wake up was the rabbit. He hops out of the chair and he looks around. He sees the fox is fast asleep. He sees that the bear is fast asleep, and he sees that Vanya is fast asleep. So he says, okay, this is my best time to quickly get out of this room and go into the forest before the fox wakes up. So he quietly as a mouse, he opens the door and he runs or hops into the forest, leaving his footprints in the snow. The next person to wake up was the fox, and he looks around the room. He sees Vanya fast asleep, and he sees that the bear is also fast asleep. So he says to himself, I better go before the bear wakes up. So he quietly opens the door and runs into the woods, leaving his footprints in the snow. It was still very quiet. Then the bear wakes up and the bear looks around. There is no fox or the rabbit. And he says, I better wake up before Vanya wakes up, because he was worried that he might get upset with him. So he quietly opens the door and runs into the woods, leaving his big bare footprints in the snow. Inside the house, everything was quiet, and then Vanya wakes up and he's wondering, was I dreaming last night? Did I have animals in the house? I'm sure there was a rabbit who was sleeping on the chair here, and then I'm pretty sure there was a fox also here sleeping by the fire, and a bear sleeping in this corner of the room. But then he looked around, but there's no sign of the animals. Or maybe I was dreaming, he thought. Then he thought, okay, let me just look outside what the weather is like. Is it stormy like last night? So he opens the door and he looks outside. On a big thick blanket of snow, there were the footprints of the animals. And then he smiles at himself and he says, no, I wasn't dreaming. The animals had been in his house. They were very cold and tired, and they wanted somewhere warm to stay the night. And he was very happy that he did that kindness to the animals. And then he got himself ready to go into the woods and cut some more wood for his fire. Hi everyone, I hope you enjoyed this interactive way of storytelling. So if you do try to tell this story at home, and please do so with your family, friends, and involve everyone. I have often involved my husband when the kids were young, and we would set up a stage like this, and so you can use different stories like the story about the Goldilocks, the three pigs. So you just have to think a bit and be innovative and encourage children also to participate in just finding things for the stories and setting the stage. So okay, I'm going to leave you now, and I wish you all Happy New Year. Stay safe until next year, and for my workshop I look forward to seeing you all there. Bye bye.